Hi, I am Darcy of Prairie Girl Flowers. So I wanted to make this intro video and just introduce myself a little bit. You will find in my very first video that I have here, I talk a lot about Prairie Girl Flowers, how it came to be, and a little bit of my history. So I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that right here, but I wanted to introduce you to what you will find in this channel. And what I really want to say is it's all about plants. Yes, I'm an annual flower grower, but I love everything plants. So I intend to talk about a lot of different things and not just my annual flowers, even my garden. So you'll get a little bit of it all and my craziness and how I try things out that sometimes work and sometimes don't. And I will be sharing that with you as well. So yes, I'm in the process of creating something brand new and I'm going to take you along on that journey. I hope you enjoy it. Um, I intended to have Mac in this video to introduce you to my dog, but he found a bone and there's no other option. It's just time to chew a bone. So he will be showing up in my videos as well. So my very first video, I do a lot of talking in this video, telling you a little bit about what I'm up to. I hope you'll hang in there and watch the whole thing. Mac, Mac, can you say hi? Hey, Mac. So my last video I introduced that this was going to be my growing space for Prairie Girl Flowers. So last winter I put a large tarp over this space in particular because this is where I'm going to start growing. And I didn't want to just till the grass. I really appreciate regenerative farming and really creating a healthy soil. So I didn't want to disturb the soil by tilling it. We'll see how this goes. So I decided to just lay a tarp down last fall and let the grass die. Now, I need a little help to actually start growing on this space this summer. So I do have a landscaping company coming today. Finally, they were supposed to be here last fall. I'll leave it at that. So they're going to actually put a layer of soil over the top of this space. I have some misgivings about that, but this soil is incredibly sandy. It's almost like growing in pure sand. So just so that I can get a good start to this year, I'm okay with adding soil. And then I don't know how well you can see this. I'll take you a little closer. But you can see the fence and it goes all the way around this very large space. The people that lived here before used to raise dogs, so they fenced in the yard for the dogs. So in many ways that works out great because now I have protection from deer and other critters that are going to eat everything I plant because I'm really out here in the wild. There's not a lot of people around here. So I'm grateful for the fence, even though I don't think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's going to create the perfect opportunity to grow without having to always be in the struggle with deer, which has always been the case wherever I've been before. Anyway, I want to do a combination of annuals. We'll all be in this space here where all this dead grass is. And then around the perimeter, I'm going to start planting perennials. So I'm still waiting for the landscape people to come, but I thought I would show you guys something really interesting. So this spring, when all of the snow started to melt around this property, my husband and I came out here and we noticed that the grass had lifted in little small trails, all like in a large part of the yard. And they're voles. So voles will cut this little path that looks like a stream or a river through the grass looking for something to eat, right? And they'll eat roots of plants. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope that they haven't hit the garden. Well, they did. So I thought I'd show you what it looks like. If you're familiar with voles, they can destroy things in a big hurry. So all those little trails, right? There's another one. These little holes like that. Oh my gosh. Right? That is not the soil cracking. Those are voles. And they're all over in this area now that I've lifted the trap or the tarp. So they apparently think this is a pretty good spot to eat. Now, I think they're gone, but we'll see. So here is, I'm just going to give you a close-up of the area they're going to lift this grass. So all along this fence, they're going to lift this sod, and here is where I'm going to plant my perennials. And I have so many perennials. I was formerly really just a perennial flower gardener. So I have tons of perennials that are at my home, my other home, that I need to bring out here. So I will fill this up in no time. In fact, I have planted a bunch of perennials by seed, and I've got peonies and tons of peonies that I'm going to be planting here, and roses. So they're all part of my grander plan is I start to finally have a very stable space to grow my flower business. So while I'm waiting, I thought I would just share a little bit more about my flower business. As I mentioned in my last video, I have been doing this for about 3 years, the annual flower business. And the tricky part is I never really had a place to grow them. So I grew kind of all over, right? So I grew at this co-op, this vegetable co-op, and that didn't work because I never really had access to water, and the people that drove the tractors drove over a bunch of my flowers. And because I could only grow at the end of a vegetable plot, I was, here, and this was like 6 acres. So I would be over here, and then I'd have flowers way over there. And it was just exhausting. I was grateful for the opportunity, and I did get some flowers from it, but it exhausted me to plant there. So that wasn't an option. And then I think I mentioned the other options to you, but anyway, it excites me about this, to have my own space, to actually be here, live here, while I'm tending to the garden. And now I just have this blank slate. I can do whatever I want. I have been, this is a dream. This is a dream for me to have a successful, not only annual flower business, but perennials, herbs, and herbal medicine that is dear to my heart. So you're going to see all of this come to life over a period of time. And as of now, there have been so many ups and downs, so many what feels like failures, but I also see them as opportunities. But it has just, in many ways, many people might have given up, right? But I'm not going to. And I now have this blank space and it's all mine. And I love to build, so I can hardly wait to build a she shed greenhouse right here because there's plenty of space to do it. And it feels like a dream come true. I can't wait to grow my own herbal medicine garden so that I can dry them and provide medicine to people who really appreciate that sort of medicine. I don't think I mentioned to you in my last video, but I formerly was an RN, so I was traditionally in modern medicine for 15 years. I opened a yoga Pilates studio, so I have a strong background in both of those, and I'm also a yoga therapist. So I hope to bring that to this platform as well and show you how I pull that kind of mythical medicine of yoga and Ayurveda and shamanism, also a shaman, into my flower business and herbal business. So lots to come. It feels sometimes kind of overwhelming to me, right? Like, where do I begin to show you guys this journey and yet make it look like it makes sense in a video? Because doing the videography is all new to me too, yet I really, really love doing it. It's still new, and sometimes when we start something new, it can be scary, right? And we may not want to show certain things because we don't want people to see a certain part of us. And of course, I'm in that field a little bit, but I really want to let that go and just show you guys the truth of running a farming business and how I'm going to immerse all of my background into this business. It really is a passion of mine, and I can't wait to bring you with. It's been a journey getting to this black dirt, amazingly. So everything has been sod cut, and today I need to prep this area for planting. So at some level, this is kind of a new journey for me. I've not had an opportunity to take a large area and transform it into plantable space. I have perennial gardened for, I bet, 20 years, and I did it little by little. I grew my garden little by little. I've not taken a mass amount of space and turned it into a garden. So this is a little bit new for me. We bought this space last fall, and there are so many amazing benefits, but you know, there's pros and cons to everything. So the con is I have a large amount of grass space that I need to turn into flower gardening and vegetable, and that means a lot of work. So last fall I threw a tarp down on this space. What I really would have wished I could have done is to put some cover crop in, but I didn't have enough time to do that. So I laid down the tarp just to kill the grass back, and then this fall, or this spring, my hope was to add some dirt. So you literally dig down about 4 to 6 inches, and it's almost, not entirely, but it's almost completely sand in some areas of this yard. So I am in lakes country, and the lake that we are on has an incredibly sandy beach, and the bottom of the lake is very sandy. out quite a ways, out further than I can see, right? So I'm sure that's why there's so much sand here, which is very different than where I have grown in the past. I've really grown in clay soil, which is totally different than loamy, sandy soil. So it'll be interesting to see how well and how easy it is to keep this actually watered. So moving on, today, as I said, I'm going to, you really get to come along on this journey. It's such a learning process, right? I listen to so many podcasts and YouTube videos that are gardeners, and I learn so much. And then you start doing it and you're like, well, they didn't say anything about this. So you just do it and see what happens, right? So I started at this, and this has already taken me 2 hours to do it, because when I killed the grass, now I got to go pick up, you know, all this dead grass. I think, again, I've never turned a space like this into a garden. When I did my garden, my perennial gardens, I sat down and I got every piece of grass out I could, and it was a lot of work, but I was working in a much smaller space. So what I've done is I just lightly tilled it. My goal is to do no-till, but there's just no way I can take a large amount of space and get rid of the grass, especially since I didn't cover crop it. Anyway, so it's going to require me using some tilling this first year. I'm hoping I do it just this spring and I don't have to do it again. So I essentially have tilled this one spot, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it out and see if I have 3 feet. So my plan is the plantable space will be 36 inches with a very small walkway, maybe not even a full 2 feet, maybe 18 inches at the most. So I'm going to measure this out, and then I'm going to see if I have this first row at 36 inches. And then I'm going to dig out the walk space, maybe a little bit more than I already have, because I would like each plantable space to be slightly higher. And I am then, this year, going to lay cardboard down this first space, this first walking path. So I'm going to do some experimenting. I'm going to lay cardboard down, and then I'm going to put wood chips on it. And then some of the plantable space, or excuse me, some of the walking space, I am going to plant some other things just to get plants in the soil and keep building the soil here. I did not test the soil, but I'm going to. I really think that feeding the soil all the time is a good idea, especially when you're going to be planting a lot. So this soil might be perfectly fine. I don't know the makeup of it at all. But anyway, I want to keep planting plants. So I think I'm going to try like one of the walkways. Yeah, I'm going to try creeping thyme and see what happens. I might be inviting a huge disaster, but I'm going to try it and see what happens. So you'll get to watch that happen. And then what was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh, in years past, where I've been before, I have had a horrendous problem with thistle. So I laid down weed mat. So I have a ton of weed mat. And I'm not going to do that for the whole garden. I'm going to do it for some of the crops. I'm not going to do it for, this is going to be my medicinal herb garden area. And I planted so many tomatoes this year. First of all, I love to grow things. And second of all, they were old seeds, and I thought, they won't all come up. Every single seed came up. So I've given so many tomato plants away already, and I bet I still have a dozen tomato plants. I don't know what I'm going to do with them all, but I'm going to grow them. And then I'm going to build a trellis. So my hope is to put the tomatoes in one spot and then just add herbs in. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure I'm going to row crop the tomatoes. Yeah, I have to think more about that. Anyway, so here I go with, so let's see, 36 inches. Oh, I guessed it pretty close. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the space and put these markers, which we use along our driveway in the wintertime, so they don't, like, when they snowplow, they don't dig up the whole grass area along the driveway. Works